in Syria, which targeted the ISIL leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. There are, at this stage, conflicting reports about whether the operation was a success or not. The US magazine Newsweek is citing a US Army official who says Baghdadi was killed. Though do remember the 48-year-old Iraqi has been reported dead several times before. Ahead of US media reports, though, the President, Donald Trump, tweeted this, just the one line. He said, "Something very big has just happened." And the White House says Donald Trump will make a major announcement at 1300 hours GMT Sunday, which is about 6 hours from now. Let's start with Osama bin Javed. He is in Sanlurfa, near Turkey's border with Syria.
According to US officials, the world's most wanted man is now dead. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was killed in a Special Operations Forces raid in northwestern Syria, in a province called Idlib. So let me run you through of how the previous 4 to 5 hours have panned out. We started hearing reports from fighters on the ground that there are helicopters carrying out an attack. We've been hearing messages from various fighting forces who've been sending voice messages of you could hear the sounds of helicopters, some retaliatory fire because they thought they were under attack. But this happened in this town, in about 5 kilometers away from the Turkish border. As we've been hearing from US media, a senior Pentagon official has briefed them, and according to some sources, that during this raid, a number of helicopters were involved. There were jets as well as some drone observation involved as well. So as US forces went into this compound, we believe, according to these sources which have told US media, that there were some family members around Baghdadi as well. The Pentagon official telling Newsweek magazine that no children were harmed, but 2 of Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi's wives did detonate themselves, as well as Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, who was wearing a suicide vest. If true, this will be a significant blow to this organization, which we've seen crumbling. More details about the raid include how remains of the bodies were collected, and samples have now been taken to various parts for forensics, for DNA testing, as well as biometrics. So it is going to be a few hours wait at least before we can actually see some sort of confirmation. This is not the first time Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi has been reported to be killed or injured. So we have to wait and see to what the US president is going to announce at 13 GMT. And apparently he's going to be making sure that he addresses these issues. Also, we've been hearing that the US Secretary of Defense is going to be talking to US media this morning, announcing what has happened in northwestern Syria. It is an interesting choice of hiding place, but we believe that, according to various reports, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi did not stay at one position. Since 2014, when he made that announcement, announcing Islamic State of Iraq in the Levant, in Syria and Iraq from this famous mosque in Mosul, since then he had been changing positions. He wouldn't stay in one location, and that was perhaps one of the reasons why it took so long to find him. This is an area which is now under the control of fighters which were opposed to ISIL, which had lost fighters to ISIL. They were actually locked in heated battles with ISIL. This is an area which was under the control of a group called, formerly known as Jabhat al-Nusra, close to al-Qaeda, currently known as Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. So it is an interesting choice of venue.
Run jails at Abu Ghraib and Camp Bucca. In 2010, he became the leader of al-Qaeda in Iraq, which then later split from al-Qaeda and changed its name to, as we know, ISIL, the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant. That was 2014. That same year, Baghdadi announced the creation of a so-called caliphate, and within 12 months, ISIL fighters had captured large parts of Iraq and Syria, controlling an area the size of the UK with more than 40,000 fighters. Its attacks there and overseas prompted the formation of a US-led coalition, which forced its fighters to retreat from their strongholds. We're now up to 2017 and 18 here. Most of the territory has been retaken, but ISIL does continue to carry out attacks. OK, more with Natasha Ghanem now joining us from